this has been something that's been going on for years. People have been screaming about it. Watchdogs have been screaming about it. And one of the things that I think is particularly interesting is that while we've got all this debt, the T continues to try to expand. I don't know if you guys heard about this attempt to put a full-time rail line, commuter rail line, out to Foxborough to Gillette Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
He entered into an agreement last year, $23 million to get a full-time commuter rail out there. Meanwhile, we've got aging infrastructure. We've got all these problems that just came to a head this week, and it's just left a lot of people scratching their heads.
So like yesterday, Beverly Scott, she's ahead of these. She quits. You think she just finally threw up her hands in frustration and said, nobody can do this job because it's so far in debt and we have so many problems. You think that's it?
I think that could be it, that she's saying, look, you can make me the scapegoat, but this problem is bigger than me. Or I always wonder, was this sort of orchestrated? You'll recall that right before she resigned, she gets this vote of approval from the MassDOT board of directors,
yep.
And then everyone says they're surprised by it. But either way, I mean, you got to give her credit that she never tried to, hide from this. She always came out until we got an issue here. But maybe she is just saying, you know what, you figure it out because this problem is bigger than just me.
Hey, is it true that they're actually taking money from the T and help paying off the big dig?
Well, that's the thing. They talk about this big dig debt, but it is big dig money, about $2 billion or so that was put in there, but it's not for the roads. It's for projects that were associated with the big dig rail type project. So there is big dig money included in there, but it's not for the actual project itself. But it just adds to that $9 billion.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Okay, so you've spent a lot of time researching this. I would assume you've been writing the T a lot too. And
when it's open anyway, right?
Yeah. Okay, so are you going to come to a conclusion, like the solution for the whole problem on your report tonight? Have you gotten that far?
I wish there was an easy solution and I could come out tonight and say, this is it. But I'm not going to be able to do that, but I think what we are going to do is shed light on really all the problems and hopefully focus our lawmakers into doing something about it instead of just pointing fingers.
Was there anything that surprised you the most that you found out?
I'm really surprised that we keep expanding the system when it's broken. It's almost like, why are we continuing to add lines and projects and not taking care of the system?
Mike, I'd like to interject here because I live in Medford and the new Green Line extension is going to do a lot for the value of my home. So I agree with you for 95% of what you're saying, but
you got to get the Green Line extension into Medford, close to Hank's house,
at least to Boston Avenue.
Because that's like 20% increase in his real estate value.
Hey, I want your real estate to go up too, but I want the system to at least function properly. And you got these aging cars. Something's got to give. You can't do it all. You think about your own personal finances. We all want all these different things, but sometimes you have to say, look, we got to cut the spending and just fix what we got.
Maybe we'll just have to raise the T fares to like $42 a day.
Oh, and I know.
If it worked, it would be. I'm not saying that much, but if
they're going to have to.
If it worked, if the T was good and it worked, then you would pay more money to use it. But half the time they're just raising the money and it still breaks down and you still have to get on the train. So it's just
exactly.
Mike, do you looking back, do you know what the Weld-Cellucci administrations, what was their role with the MBTA? Because now the Secretary of Administration and Finance then was now Governor Baker. So,
right.
And he's been very critical of the MBTA. What were they doing with the T back then?
Well, he was also involved with, the Big Dig project was under his watch as well. And so we talk about that $2 billion in projects that ultimately, take on the debt. So, I mean, they can't run from it completely either. I mean, this is a new problem. And I think that Baker, it's easy for Governor Baker to get out there and point to the MBTA and say something doesn't work. We agree. But now that Beverly Scott's out of there, this is in his lap too. He's got to come up with a solution. And he's also saying, I don't want to raise any taxes. He's facing, millions, tens of millions of dollars in, just a budget deficit this year. So, I mean, he's got his work cut out for him as well.
Okay, a lot of answers, but actually probably more questions, and it's all coming up. This report is at 10 o'clock on Fox 25 tonight, right?
Absolutely. We'll see you at 10.
Okay, Mike, thanks a million. We really appreciate it. Have a great day, okay?
You too. Thanks.
Okay, I hope you catch your train. we see what the commute's doing. Hank, how we doing?
Hopefully he's not coming from Braintree. So they've been busing between Braintree and JFK Station. just because of the power problems they've had. They haven't been running a train, and then when you get to JFK, you can take it forward. But they just had to shut the power at JFK because a tractor-trailer knocked down a couple of utility poles, and they've had to cut the power at JFK, believe it or not. Jammed expressway northbound Braintree up to Columbia Road, 128 south out to Ponkapog, northbound busy 95 right up to Route 9, and 24 north back to 123. Very heavy Route 3 south, 110 down into Billerica. Still heavy 128 south Walnut all the way down to Trapello Road. It's a long, slow ride. Traffic is brought to you by the world-famous Kelly's Roast Beef. And try Kelly's traditional homemade turkey dinner with gravy, stuffing, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce. Nothing will make you forget about the snow quicker. Kelly's in Revere, Saugus, Danvers, Medford, and in Natick.
Comfort Food, 105.7 WRR. Good morning. It's 14 minutes past 8 now.